your bar looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
Holy crap. I let that go entirely too long. I'm over here talking to Lisa. Anyway. I am the Old Humble guy. We are working one last day to finish filling up these things. I've done a little work already today. I've been proofing bourbon, getting it in barrels, getting it in ready to go. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing gin. I've got some stuff to do in the morning, then gin, then tasting in the evening. Today I have a hard stop at 2 o'clock where I have to go eat and then drive to College Station because I have a tasting at 5 in College Station. That law firm I work with. All right. All right. We're working out some logistical stuff and things. Anyway, so I'm the Old Humble guy. I do work here. This is my distillery. Right now, behind me, you can see this is my tasting room. Still unfinished. Because I haven't put the walls up. I'll start working on the walls next week. I've got some stuff to do in the meantime. Over on this side is my stills and still columns, and right here in front of me, is the work being done today, finishing up what we did yesterday. What do I do? What do I got here? All right, so what you see in the background of this picture, I'm distracted. Sorry. Where am I at? Here we go. Boom. Make sure I've got the audio sounding good, and that's the wrong audio. The wrong live. There it is. Bam. Yep, audio looks good. All right, so sorry, this has been a shit show of a start. I'll do better, I promise. But those are the bottles that I'm finishing the labeling of. They're all front labels. It's about half the run that I need to finish. Can you see it off to the left? Yeah, off to the left there is my bottling machine. The barrels that I use to blend and proof. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit on the bottles here, because see my crotch. Hey, that's me. I'm working on the camera. Turn it a little bit. Wrong way. Rotate. Pivot. Right there. Yeah, that's good. That's about where I'll be working. And zoom in a little bit. No, in. Dumb cameraman. Alright, that should do the trick. Okay, let's get to work, boys. On my way over to get some work done. That's camera. Check, it works. And now I go over here to see the monitor and how it works. We'll plug in to where it needs to be plugged in. And I can watch chat. So I am the Old Humble guy. This is what I do for a living. And it still boggles my imagination every single day that I get up to, that I am allowed to wake up and come in here and work doing this. I mean, I am making whiskey, for crying out loud. I make whiskey and I sell whiskey. This is crazy. This is cuckoo bird crazy. I mean, people let me do this for a living. It is dope as hell. My head's going to be cut off this entire time. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so that we can see my head. Not that I'm going to be looking at the camera much, but zoom out a little bit. Just a little bit. There it is. All right. All right, so now it's time to get cracking. So this little machine is from a company called Zip Labelers. No, Racetrack, I think, Labelers. I can't remember what the company's called. I'm sure I got a invoice from them somewhere. But it's a semi-automatic, semi-manual. Those two things mean the same. Semi-automatic and semi-manual. Semi-automatic is still manual. You know what I mean? But I just put the label on, slip it on just like that, and it does its thing. I positioned it proper where I needed to be positioned, and I run it through, and that was a little bit high, but see, that's a little bit higher on the bottom. But it is a very manual process. Everything we do at the Old Humble Distilling Company is a manual process. We are highly not automated, or what would the term be? Non-automated, highly manual, craft production all through the process. So much of what we do is handmade, hand produced. I mean, Jesus, everything in this place that's made of wood was literally handmade. I made, yeah, I mean, except for the walls, which are metal, I made those. So the tables that are wood, if it's plastic or steel, I did not do it. Unless it was assembled, and then I assembled it. But I try to remember to check every label after they've been assembled or attached, affixed, just to make sure I don't have them crazy out of place. Because crazy out of place would look bad. The goal with this machine was to make regular the placement of labels. Because what would happen is when we were placing the labels by hand, there would be little variations. Ooh, that's terrible. There would be little variations between the people if I had helpers helping me. If I had helpers helping me place the labels, there would be variations between the people. Manual processes, the way it works is manual processes they're pretty much just fine when there's one person doing the process. There's a regularity to your manual labor. You have a process, you have a system, your left leg is shorter than your right leg, your left eye is slightly higher than your right eye. You know, whatever personal quirk you have, whatever physical quirks you have personally, translate into every single thing that you do. You know, words you use, like when you're entering stuff into a database. This is where I first learned this, actually, with databases. When you're entering stuff into a database, if it's not a like drop-down menu type of input, there are variations because you are typing something in. Is it, you know, if you're putting in like responses to a phone call, for example, you're working at a call center for State Farm, let's say. Was the customer uninterested or was the customer disinterested? Not interested. Uninterested, non-interested, disinterested. In a database, those pretty much mean the same. I mean, they mean different things. They're different words. They mean different things. But as a person entering data into a database, if you have to type it in, what the response was from the customer, you're going to type the same thing every time. So you, operator 2, will type disinterested, uninterested. You're going to type uninterested the first time, and then you're going to type uninterested every single time after that. You, operator 2, may type not interested. And then every single time after that, you're going to just hit in and type not interested because you already did it once. It's going to just go that way for the rest of the database. And if you, operator 2, and you, operator 1, are both working on the same database, you're going to have one set of entries that have uninterested, one set of entries that have disinterested, and we, the database administrators, who are using that information, the data or the sales guys who are using that information, we're going to know who worked last night. We're going to know who worked on the database last night because operator 1 and operator 2 have 2 different entry styles, and it's going to be quite evident who was working what. Same way with physical processes like these. Your personal physical quirks, the labels will be slightly slanted to the left or slightly slanted to the right if you are left-handed or right-handed. If you are overly exuberant and placing them, they may be a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, slanted a little bit to the left, slanted a little bit to the right. But if one person's doing it, you don't really notice that. You get a little bit of variances between 2. And if 3 people, then you have a lot of variances between 3 people. And then if all the bottles are on the shelf next to each other, then it looks weird. So the whole point of getting the machines was so that we would have no variances, but so that all the variances would be the same. They would be consistently, when they got wrong, because they get wrong, they're not perfect. They're close to perfect, but they're not quite perfect. But the variances would be all the same variance. As long as I put the label on correctly, they would be all the same variances. It goes a little quicker, but it wasn't so much for the speed as it was for the presentation. And then I can look at the bottles and see that the same machine did all the front labels. Same machine did all the back labels. And the same machine operator, well, we only have one machine operating at a time, so the machine operator did that day's sets, and there's no variances, or at least all the variances are the same. And that was the whole point of getting the machine. But I did mention tonight we're going to College Station. College Station is about an hour and a half north and west of Houston. Start the next row. The hour and a half north and west of Houston on the way towards Austin. Austin is about 2 hours away. College Station is about an hour and a half. Austin's a little bit more than 2 hours, I think. Austin's closer to 2.5. But that gets me, we're going to sell at least 2 cases of whiskey today. At least that's the goal. 18. Case and a half. Goal is a case and a half of whiskey. That way they will have to order another case. Clever me. And I can be all like, I told you so. Should have had 3 on hand, homies. I'm making quick progress here. Good. I am gonna need to reposition myself here. Let's see here. How do I do this? I've got this paper on the ground under my feet. Who's here? Did I miss chats? I do have chats. Trumpet Master's back in the house. I'm planning on stopping in Leander, not today. But I am working on get this stuff off the ground. I am working on that schedule to get out there soon. I've got a trip to Palestine, Texas, later this month, and I've got a trip to Palestine, a trip to Plano, and I need to schedule a trip out to Austin. I just haven't had. I don't know when I'm going to be able to work it into the schedule. But first up is going to be contacting a bunch of locations up there. In addition to the one you recommended yesterday that I wrote down in my notebook, AB Liquor, if I recall. So that'll be on tap as far as things that need to get done in the next 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and then we will hopefully. And typically stores don't pick up new brands right before the end of the year. We're in a process of pushing inventory that already exists out the door. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Got 2 more rows to add. That'll be 18. That's everything. I think that's all of the rows. I think I had 18. But yeah, it's a very manual process. I mean, well, everything's a manual process that we do. I mean, I was proofing whiskey. I was literally taking 5-gallon buckets, and transferring 5 gallons at a time into my proofing barrel in order to transfer into the wood barrels. And I'm going to be doing it again for the next batch of 6 barrels, and doing it again for the next batch of 6 barrels. With the goal ultimately of having 18 barrels on the floor, or 12 barrels on the floor, aging, in addition to the big barrels that we've got. Of rye, straight whiskey, and special reserve. God damn, I'm getting hungry. Every time I see a barbecue guy, I suddenly get hungry. You have an aura about you, Trumpet Master. Damn. Dustin's in the house too. Old arrogant owner. Old arrogant owner. I was accused of Church Boomer of being a bully. Because she yelled at me, and I told her yelling at me over email. She yelled at me over email. Right out of the blue, screeching at me through the emails. I had the nerve to tell her that yelling at me over email was not going to accomplish what she thought it would accomplish. And that made me a bully. Like, you know what? I said this before. Don't get in online arguments with boomers, especially church boomers. They are so self-righteous and entitled, even though literally everything, including the church, that they touch goes to complete shit. What you gonna do though, right? It's sad to watch institutions just die because people make dumb decisions. And then they think that all we need to do is make those decisions harder. You know, do more. Do it louder, do it harder, do it faster. Like, that's just driving the bus off the cliff quicker. Have faith, God will provide. No. You need members, they will provide. You need to figure out how to do that. 21st century ideas, not 19th century ideas. Can't be doing 19th century church in the 21st century. That's how you kill a church. Church boomers. But what the fuck do I know? I'm just a guy standing there telling them there's a cliff coming. And you know it. And they know it. Everyone knows it. They're just going to drive off the cliff. It's sad. But anyway. But that's me. Old, arrogant, bully. Oops. See, sometimes that happens. Like I miss the mark on the label. And I just got to like pull it off. Place it back down. And it's done. That's why I got to check every one. Because sometimes I miss. But rarely do I miss 2 times in a row. Rarely. But it happens. And sometimes the labels are just crap. Like the back labels that we had were on a heavier backing. The paper was heavier. The backing paper was heavier, and it just doesn't come off the backing as easily. So I have to put those on manually, which is a pain in the butt. A huge pain in the butt. Which is why we use a different vendor now for those labels. Among other reasons. But you know, another thing, run a business here. We try to run a business here. And we buy things frequently. We pay for things when we buy them. If you've got a report that shows a payment is due or a payment is owed, and you send me an email with attached to a website that I've got to access in order to find out if I owe you fucking money, well, guess who's not going to get paid that money that I allegedly owe you? Because I'm not going through the fucking hoops and bouncy houses. So if you got a report showing I owe fucking money, send the fucking report. Don't sit here and say, yeah, you got to access this file through this system, and blah, blah, blah. No, fuck you. You want the money? Do your job, and don't expect me to do your job for you. I've got a job. Lazy bums. I've got a goddamn job, and it does not involve operating your system of accounts receivable or whatever. I've got my own system, and my system says I paid it. People are just dumb sometimes. It drives me absolutely crazy. But it's okay. It's okay. That's part of the life of sales. Just interacting with people. No need to stay entitled. You have a cover with. I'm always hungry. No need to say entitled. You had to cover. Now these are boomers. Man, I have made no secret of how I feel about them. Like the individuals, as individuals, they're lovely people. My mother, many of her friends, Although I had interesting conversation with one that said they're definitely sending a battleship to the Eastern Mediterranean. And now, in order to send a battleship to the Eastern Mediterranean, they would need a time machine to go back to, like, I believe the 1950s when the last battleship was decommissioned. Because they don't have those anymore. They don't build battleships. They don't use battleships. We don't have battleships in the U.S. Navy. Oh, they're sending a battleship. They're definitely sending a battleship. And other stuff that they aren't telling us about. Now, how the fuck did you know about the stuff they're sending that they're not telling you about? These people have rotted their brains with Fox News at 75 volumes, watching and listening to nonsense shit all the time about the population of Muslims in Mexico that is just waiting to come across the border with their guns from the Middle East, when all they got to do is fly a fucking airplane into Dallas Love Field or DFW Airport, get in a goddamn cab, go to the closest gun store and buy a fucking arsenal. Why do you think they need to go to Mexico, smuggle guns into Mexico from the Middle East in order to sneak them across the border to attack Americans? They can't do anything to us that we don't already do. What, they're going to come into a nightclub and shoot the place up? Already done it. Go into a school and shoot the place up? Already done it. How about a bowling alley? Already done it. Shopping mall? Already done it. Military base? Already done it. Movie theater? Already done it. How about an office complex? Already done it. Naval shipyard? Already done it. These fucking irrational goobers, they're like, oh, they're going to come across the border and shoot everybody up. Like, where? In a Walmart? We've already done it. In a grocery store? We've already done it. They're not sneaking across the border with guns. They're coming to America, buying them, and then using them. And they're not doing it. They're not the ones we got to worry about. You're worried about brown Muslims when the people you need to worry about look like me, middle-aged white guys. Most dangerous animal in America. It ain't the women, although they're dangerous. But not that kind of dangerous. They're crazy dangerous. What is that? A little dust on the bottle there. Battleship, aircraft carrier. There's a big difference between a battleship and an aircraft carrier. There's a big difference between a battleship and an aircraft carrier. A big difference. Hey, shit, one of those aircraft carriers. We have currently in the Eastern Mediterranean the second and third most destructive air forces in the world. And that's only the third most, it's the second most destructive if you count it together. The third most destructive if you count each one separately. And the most destructive air force in the world is ours in America. It's a huge difference. Battleships don't have any air forces. They're going to definitely send a battleship in addition to the aircraft carriers. No, they're not. We're going to have an uprising of Hezbollah in America. No, we're not. No, we're not. If we're going to have an uprising, we're going to have another uprising of angry white men, just like we had the last uprising. The only fucking uprisings you get in this country are angry white men who are pissed off because reasons. I mean, I get it. It must suck to live in a world that suddenly isn't catering to your every fucking whim and need. And you're scared because kids these days or whatever, and the music sounds weird and everything's strange and confusing because everything's moving faster than your 19th century brain can process. I get it. My entire generation went through that like 20 years ago, dude. Like, that is how we grew up. Literally. We were like, they got cable now? What's that all about? Yeah, we learned all that shit. And then we taught you how to do all that shit, boomer. And like, no, Dad. Look, there's 2,000 channels now. You don't have to watch Law and Order on instant replay. You can watch it live on like 45 different channels. But also, you don't have to watch Law and Order. And also, these crimes are fiction, Dad. They don't really happen in real life. Oh, ripped from the headlines. No, Dad. Maybe a headline, but not the headlines, plural. Come on. And I know this is also kind of controversial, but I find it really hard to gin up a whole lot of sympathy for a country that got attacked, that's been attacking another people for 40 years. But that's controversial. I'll leave that aside. Channels live. I'm talking like 20 years ago. Nobody watches live TV anymore. I did have somebody, oh my God. We had somebody talk about Big Brother and I chuckled. Like, that's still on the air? He's like, yeah, it's still on the air. We still watch it. Like, I had no idea that's even a thing. Because we don't have like, we don't have live TV. We don't have cable. We don't have any of that shit anymore. And I guess it comes on Paramount or something. I don't know what channel it's on. But my wife loved it, but yeah, she's like, I guess we can still get it on the antenna. I'm like, yeah, but then you have to show up at a certain time to watch a TV show, and who the fuck does that anymore? You watch them 2 years after the fact, like everybody else. It's like saying bourbon and rye are way different. They are way different. Maybe to you and me, but anybody who doesn't drink is just, well, that's a good point. That's a good point. But if you're going to make the distinction between what they're already sending and telling us about and also a battleship, that's like saying we got out 2 bottles of bourbon and then brought a bottle of rye. When you're like, but there's just 2 bottles of bourbon here. Where's the bottle of rye? Well, we're bringing a, but there's not a third one. There's just the 2. Your brain's broken, homie. There's no third bottle. There's no third bottle, and that bottle doesn't exist anyway. Like, discontinued bottle of rye. Like, we're bringing out the 2 bottles of bourbon, and then they're going to bring out a bottle of discontinued Don Chablis that you can only find in the museums. Really? Where are they going to get a discontinued bottle of Don Chablis? Shit don't exist. Oh, it's just, I heard it from a... Yeah, you fucking made it up, boomer. You fucking heard it from some nonsensical shit, and your spoiled brain, the spoiled gray matter, cooked up some nonsensical concoction in your brain so that you can be more scared. That's all I fucking want to be, is scared. Scared boomers sell advertising, I guess. All right, what do I got over here? I've got my rye. I've got a shit ton of rye. All right, what time is it? It's been 30 minutes. There's a huge boat going there. Yep. Anyone who watches live sports. I do still watch live sports on the antennas. Where I can watch live sports on network TV. So that's occasionally baseball games, football games. That's pretty much it. You can't watch any of that other shit because the NBA is on Now watch this. In order to keep this nice and tidy, I put it on a roll, and now I can just take that roll off. Boop. Keep things nice and clean and tidy. Okay, so now what I do after I've done labeling everything up and bottling everything up, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It's 18 across. That's 14 deep. So that's 18 cases plus 3 more. Because this is 6, 6, and 6. So that's 18, 21, 22 cases total. So I'm going to actually log this as of October 31st because I started it on October. And this should have been done yesterday, but I had to run off and do a thing. So 10, 31, 20, 18, 21, 22 cases. 22 cases of special or straight whiskey on 10/31. So this is boxed and ready to ship, and we will ship this on ship at least half of this in the next 2 weeks to our distributor. This is 20. I had estimated 17. It was 22 cases. No, the first run was 22, and then I had 5 more cases that I was able to add to it. So there we go. The first bits that I did a couple of weeks ago was 17 cases, and we added 5 more. All right. No, that's not what he was saying. I promise you. He was saying they've got 2 aircraft carriers in the Eastern Mediterranean, and they're sending a battleship group and other things that they're not telling us about. Direct quote. Direct quote. Direct quote of words coming out of a spoiled boomer brain, or a boomer brain that has been spoiled by Fox News and whatever other fucking nonsense that they fucking pour into their stupid brain. Because, you don't want to Google search stuff. You rather use that Russian search engine, because that Russian search engine is not as biased as Google, because why would Russia be biased? These fucking people, I swear to God. Okay. Oh, they are a national fucking treasure. And by treasure, I mean nightmare. All right, I'm off camera over here because I'm looking at what's going on back here in the back shop. I've got a barrel of straight whiskey, 2 barrels of special reserve. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera if I can get to it. I'm going to turn the camera and show y'all what it is that I'm looking at back there. It's a little bit of it's obscured, but that's okay. The rick house space that I have right now is here. It's a beautiful day outside, by the way. All right, so let's go back this way. Over here, I've got 6 5-gallon barrels, 6 5-gallon barrels. I've got a barrel of special straight whiskey. Now back there, these are all boxes. Most of these are gonna get moved off to that way. Some of them are gonna get boxed up and shipped out with the stuff that's on the table. Some of them are gonna get added to another pallet, and this whole pallet's gonna go away. I've got 2 barrels right here of special reserve. Then I've got 4 barrels of rye. The special reserve is going to be ready. Actually, is ready pretty much any day now. As soon as I get my labels, I can start bottling it. But what I'm going to do is in the next 2 weeks, get it out of the barrels, proof it, and begin the bottling process. And then the rye will be ready at the beginning of December. Sometime early December, I'll do the same process with that. Further back, I've got 6 barrels of bourbon and a couple of barrels of gin that is aging, bourbon barrel aged gin, which is an experiment that I'm trying with my gin guy. to see how that's going. And then there's some neutral grain spirits and gin that we have here in the tote, neutral grain and then gin. That neutral grain is going to turn into gin at some point over the next 3 months, and maybe a little bit of vodka too. But this is the straight whiskey. This is just a pallet of box innards, spacers, and that is the only pallet of those that I have left. Is that true? Yeah, I think so. But that handles a shit ton of boxes. That's like 2 pallets worth of boxes there. But yeah, that's all the stuff that we've got over here. A brief tour of the rickhouse area of the distillery. This is still a little bit of advanced chaos. On back here, I've got my storage tanks, my bright storage tanks for raw alcohol and finished alcohol when we get to that point. But we're in advanced chaos as we finish the build out that's over here. Let me turn you around and let you take a look at the build out that we've got. You are situated now right behind where the bar is located. So directly to my left here is the bar. So if we zoom out, I think that would fix, nope, that's in. If we zoom out a little bit, move back some so we're not pointing directly at a stud. Through this wall is where the stage is. There's our bathroom, there's the whole tasting room space. That's the length of the wall to the front. And I could be in a worse position. But I'm going to try and put it in a better position so we can see it a little bit better. Under the conduit. Up. There we go. Now, we are in a much better position. So this is the full glory of the table. We got a few supplies in here for the gin guy when we do some gin work. But this is, except for those boxes over there, this is what we got. Nice open space. These walls are all going to be covered in plasterboard in the next week. They'll be covered in plasterboard in the next week. We'll have that table is over there where the DJ will be. The DJ/stage area right there. And then, I mean, yeah, that's the tasting room. And eventually we're going to have live shows. We'll have a little camera mounted up here on the wall where we can have a steady cam on the stage. Then we'll have this camera that can be camera 2 and shift around to different places in the distillery. There we go. I hope all of that worked and we didn't lose video. Nope, we lost video. I don't know when we lost video, but we lost video. Let's unplug that and then plug it back in. Did I get our video back? There we go. Okay. Then we'll rotate around back over here. Okay, nods. The camera nods yes. Hello. It's called Facebook. Yes, the crap that is spoiling their brain is very much Facebook. Facebook, Fox, Newsmax. What's the other one? News Source. OAN. That's it. All their shitty news sources. But next thing up is I got to box these guys up. We got to box it and put it on the pallet and get it off my table so that I can start bottling gin tomorrow. So that's the next step. Let me get some boxes. We'll get them. We'll get some boxes. I mean, it's only 21 boxes. It's not going to take a ton of work. It's not going to take a ton of time. So let's do it to it. Where are let's see here. Do I have open boxes yet? No, I do not. All right. Sit tight. I'll be right back. Over here, where we have boxes, and I put stuff on top of my boxes, and I said to myself when I put stuff there, I'm going to have to move this stuff again. And now is when I get to move the stuff again. Time to... Everything I do requires stuff to be moved twice. Because I got to move it from where it's not supposed to be to where it should be, then where it should be to where it shouldn't be, so that I can get to the stuff that I need to get underneath where it is. And it's not the most organized pathway to getting stuff done. But when you don't have a lot of space, you have to compromise a lot on getting stuff in and out and where it needs to be on a fairly regular basis. Because you can't just put things necessarily where they go. Because sometimes where things go is also where other things go. So you just make do with the space you have, stack stuff up, unstack stuff. And then when you throw a big giant monkey wrench in the whole system by taking out a third of your space, or nearly a third of your space for a tasting room, and then you have to figure out how to accommodate the stuff that you had been storing in a third of your space. I won't open that yet, but I'm going to have to eventually. I just don't want to do it yet. Well, fuck it, I will. Boom. All right. And don't get me wrong, the spoiling of boomers' brains did not start with Facebook. The spoiling of boomers' brains started way, way, way back in the 70s. Way back in the 70s. Progressed through the 80s, and it's gotten even worse. I think it had to do with honest to God, I think it has to do with the lead paint that had been in their paint in their homes for years. I think it has to do with the lead that was in their auto exhaust for years. I think their brains had been poisoned or have been poisoned by their environment, by their surroundings for years. I think there is undiagnosed lead poisoning that is causing many of them as a generation, not individuals. Again, as individuals, they're sweet, wonderful people. But as a generation, they don't think good. They are, as a generation, they have ruined every goddamn thing they've touched. And we've talked about this before. You know, there's no need to relitigate this. And I've talked about it before, and I'm more than willing to talk about it again, because it is a common topic of discussion among people in general, also my generation specifically, because a lot of my generation sounds and acts like boomers, especially the elder Xers, the first wave of Gen X, you know, the late 60s Xers, the retired Xers, or the retiring Xers. The ones who got into the workforce before the entire world changed. And they're like, well, it was just fine for us. Like, yeah, because you got a fucking pension, old man. You started working 20 years before your youngest brother started working, or your younger sister. It was a different goddamn world when you started working than when you quit working. Ugh. I mean, that's just how it was, how it is, how things go. I have so damn many pocket knives floating around this place. Let me look and see if the camera's working. Twisted Art Lady's in the house. Cheers, Twisted. But no, I really do. I think it started with the lead in the water and the paint and the air and the exhaust fumes. I really do think that's the genesis of these spoiled brains that we have of boomers today. When you see boomers out on the streets screaming at kids, I'm gonna call the cops, because they're walking their dog or whatever. Had one old boomer lady scream at me because my dog walked through her yard as I was bringing him home. He didn't even shit on her grass. He just walked through her grass. My dog just walked through the grass. She's like, I'm gonna bring my dog over to walk on your grass. I'm like, okay. They could play. It'll be fun. He likes to play with other dogs. Fucking psychopath. I don't want anybody walking on my grass. Grass isn't there to be walked on. The grass is there just to look at. Fucking crazy person. Grass is there to look at. You should fucking take care of it sometime. Because it ain't much to look at. That boomer's name was Catherine. She was a crazy person. And that was the first conversation that I had with her. She was a neighbor of mine. Some people are just fucking crazy. So first things first, I got to put the bottles in the boxes. Bottles go in the box. Then I've got to put the labels on the boxes before I put them on the pallet so that I know what it is that I've got. Because otherwise all the boxes kind of look the same. It's the benefit and drawback of branding. Good branding, as your packaging look the same. Yeah, we're good. But also, all your packaging looks the same. So, you got to do one more step to identify what it is that you got so that you don't lose your packages. Because the worst thing that could happen is your package goes missing. Then, what you going to do? Now, you are a man walking around without a package. Oh no! Vague sexual innuendo. That's good YouTubing. All right, memberships. I said I was going to talk about memberships, but I haven't talked about memberships yet. So we'll talk about memberships. I think I might open up this back door, get a little circulation through here. It's getting a little toasty warm. But every bottle I'm putting in here, I'm inspecting it one more time to make sure that it is, they're all a little bit dusty, but they don't look bad. I'm making sure that they look good enough to present when I put them in. So anyway, memberships. Baseline membership, super fan membership. That is $25 a year, $2.50 a month, $2 a month, something like that. Stop it. I almost lost a whole bottle there. It gets you access to member-only chats, sip-along, members-only shows where we do sip-alongs of special release whiskeys. Gets you 25 entries every time we spin the Wheel of Doom and Glory. And it gets you acknowledged on every live stream we do as an associate producer who helps make these shows happen. You're not blamed. You are thanked. Because I do truly appreciate it. Because every dime that comes from memberships ultimately goes back into getting equipment for the show. Better computer, better lighting, better soundboard, better help bands. Those will be members only shows when we get bands coming in. We'll do like a public introduction maybe and a private members only show, and then once it's done airing, we'll take the recorded footage, cut it, and make a public show out of it. But if you want to watch the music live, make requests and all that shit, members only access. Then there's the second tier, the Wildcat tier. That is $5 a month, I think. I'm going to do one in between, I think. I don't know, I haven't decided. But the $5 a month gets you actual samples of our alcohol. Actual samples for our sip-along shows. So while the super fans can chat, you actually drink with me. So that's kind of a neat little perk, I think. Be able to actually have a drink, give me direct feedback. Oh, this tastes like piss water. Oh, that's fair. It was supposed to. It's called Angry Skunk Piss number 3. It was supposed to taste like piss water. Angry skunk piss, specifically. So that's good feedback. I appreciate that. Thank you. And yes, in my tasting notes from the early days, that is one of the bottles that I had, and I wrote down, this tastes like Angry Skunk Piss. We were joking around the table that we should probably, if we should make a label of intentionally bad whiskey and call it Angry Skunk Piss and sell it for like $8. It's whiskey for people who hate themselves, or like you did bad things and you want to repent, you want to pay for your misdeeds. If you want to pay for your misdeeds, then we have the whiskey for you. Angry Skunk Piss whiskey. It tastes like you did something bad because you did. Angry Skunk Piss number 3. That would have been funny. But no, alas, we did not make an Angry Skunk Piss whiskey. That would have been funny. I did not do that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's called brand management. It's called image management. Not wanting to intentionally make something that would make people feel bad. No. Our whiskey is whiskey that makes you feel good. Like, those celebration whiskey or celebration shots of Patron or something like that. Those nice, super smooth tequilas. Like, you're not going to drink Don Julio out of the plastic bottle for a celebration. Like that is tequila that makes you feel bad. That is tequila that is designed and intended for mixing, for drinks, for recovery from an awful time, right? Those are the tequilas that you vaguely remember from college when you're like, I'm never drinking again. The stagger home bottles of booze that are plastic so they don't break when you fall down. Good times, I'm told. Because you don't remember those good times. You're told about those good times. They're like, yeah, you did and you did and you did and you touched and you went and you. You're like, holy Jesus, my brain is coming out of my head now. The church really should invest in those types of whiskeys, those types of tequilas, those types of bottles, because that is the type of shit that will bring you to God. 100% bring you to God. Alcoholics Anonymous should invest in certain alcohols that make people promise they will never drink again. I'll never do it again. Really? We'll see about that. Why don't you come to our meetings and we can help you be better people? Clever. Clever way to go. Like, we're not making alcoholics. We're making alcoholics regret their decisions. Yeah. Perfectly valid. Perfectly valid. All right, and as I said earlier, I do have a hard cutoff of 2 o'clock because I have to eat lunch and then go to College Station. College Station is the home of the Fightin' Aggies of Texas A&M. So as I explain my whiskey to people, I'm going to have to talk slowly and maybe explain it 2 or 3 times. Ha 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 ha. Old Aggie joke. Got an Aggie coming home from the market. He's got a pig under his arm. Guy walks up to him and says, "Well, that looks like shit. What'd you pay for that? You got..." And the pig says, "I paid about $2.50. He's all right." Aggie jokes in Texas were the college equivalent of blonde jokes in Texas. They also had blonde jokes back in the 80s, but Aggie jokes were much more acceptable culturally because we were making fun of a whole university. They were popularized by the other land-grant school in Austin. Big rivalry between Texas and Texas A&M. And then A&M left they had been in the Southwest Conference together, and then they left the Southwest. Texas A&M and Texas left the Southwest Conference to go to the Big Ten, or not the Big Ten, the Big 8, and turned the Big 8 into the Big 12 by taking Texas Tech and the University of Houston. Record scratch. They didn't take the University of Houston. They took the University of fucking Baylor because Ann Williams made a phone call. Ann Richards made a phone call, rather. She defeated Clayton Williams in the governor's race. She made a phone call, and Baylor, that fucking dumpster fire on the plains of Texas, the dumpster fire in Waco, got the nod to be in the Big 12 instead of the University of Houston. I'll never, ever forgive Baylor for that travesty, miscarriage of justice. But, Texas especially was more than willing to keep University of Houston out of Big 10 or Big 12 because the University of Houston is situated in the city of Houston, and whenever the University of Houston and the University of Texas were on equal footing, the University of Houston held their own against the University of Texas. We weren't a better football team than they were, but we were equals. And the University of Texas doesn't like equals. They like cupcakes. They like subservient schools that will give a significant portion of their rights to the conference so that Texas can get a significantly higher share of TV rights. I'm not making this up. These are facts. They were also very, very, opposed to the University of Houston being in the Southwest Conference because the University of Houston had the unmitigated nerve of letting black kids play football alongside white kids. Let that sink in for a minute. Unmitigated nerve of having an integrated football team in the state of Texas before the University of Texas gave their permission to do so. Yep. And then once the University of Houston got into the Southwest Conference, they were a pretty solid member of the conference. Won the conference several times. Hell, even competed for a national championship. Tried for several years to get into the Big 12, while the Big 12 was losing players, losing members rather, losing schools, and they were iced out by, you guessed it. But also, the University of Texas did not want to give up access to the very rich recruiting market that was the state of Texas's largest city, Houston, and very fertile recruiting grounds, which was the city of Houston and Harris County, and Fort Bend County, and so they could ice Houston out, and Houston, of course, being a respectable institution, said, no, you wouldn't play us, you got to play us in our facility. And Texas was like, no, we want to play at this Astrodome or Reliant Stadium. Pack it with T-sips. You want to play? You got to play on our facility. They're like, well, then build a bunch of extra seats. We tried to build a bunch of extra seats, but, you know, they were kind of rickety. I'm not going to lie. The bleachers that we put into the old stadium were not a good idea, to say the very least. Children playing outside. So needless to say, Texas got pissy and said, we're never going to play Houston again. And they only play Rice because Rice will bend over and show their willingness to do whatever Texas and Texas's money wants them to do. And that also gives Texas access to the recruiting markets here in Houston. But now, Houston is in the Big 12. And Texas could not get out of the Big 12 fast enough. Except, that's actually true because they tried to get out of the Big 12 at the beginning of this year, and the Big 12 told them they could suck a big fat hog. And Texas had to play us, and Texas won. The benefit of a very controversial last-second call, a last-second spot. We have a bad coach. Don't get me wrong. Dana Holgerson is a terrible fucking coach. You're fourth and inches on like the 9-yard line or 11-yard line, wherever the fuck it was. And you go for a big fucking sweep outside. You do all kinds of dumb shit. You go for like, you need 3 inches and you go for a play that'll give you exactly 3.01 inches when you could just go for the goddamn touch. Ugh. Dana Holgerson's a bad coach. I'm not convinced that he is a good coach on the level of the Big 12. He was okay at West Virginia before he came to Houston, but anyway. Last 3 cases? 4 cases? No, 3 cases. And then I gotta label these boxes. I'm not sure I have enough labels for the boxes. So we shall see about that. I need to get some supports on this damn table. Oh, there they are. The kids playing. We have an excavator and a four-wheeler pulling a cart. All right. Last 2 cases going in the boxes. And then these little babies will be ready to ship. I am going to institute in the next 30 days a quote-unquote loyalty program for bars as well as individuals. You will be able to bring a bottle back to the distillery and get a $5 discount for a bottle recycling program. $5 discount on your next purchase if you bring in an empty bottle of Old Humble Distilling Company's whiskey. Not a full bottle. I'm not going to give you a discount if you didn't drink the first bottle, you dope. Oh, I'm buying another bottle. Well, drink the first one, dipshit. Doesn't count if you don't drink it. It's like a cow standing in the field is what I tell people. You see a cow standing in the field and you look at that cow, you think one of two things. Either that cow's living its best life or that cow has unfilled potential. Because that cow could be steak. That cow could be a brisket. That cow could be something great. And what the hell is that cow going to do as a cow? He ain't going to solve world hunger. He's got a better chance of solving world hunger as a steak than he does as a cow. It's not going to solve world hunger, but it might solve my hunger. And that's cool. Well, that's a pretty damn good life. That's a good mission for a cow. Solve my hunger crisis. I have hunger. Cow, you can fix that. Moo. Thwack. Do I have? No, it's not in here. Okay. What about over here? I'm looking to see if I have any like stray dividers laying around, but I don't. So these all go back to where they came from. Because half of what I do is just moving shit from one place to another. And then moving it back. And then moving it back. All right. Where are we at? 1 o'clock. Like I said, I had a hard cutoff today of 2 o'clock, but it's 1 now. So what I think I'm going to do is, like, the next thing I have to do is super duper boring. You're not going to watch that because you're not going to want to watch that. Not that anybody's watching now. But the next thing is proofing gin from about 100 and something down to 80. And can't do that on camera. That's bad to do on camera. But what I am going to do is switch to picture-in-picture mode. Pick and pick. There we are. Cheers, everybody. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 21 cases right there of straight whiskey. 21 cases of straight whiskey. Times $180, $3,700 worth of product right there on camera. $3,700 worth of product that cost me probably $2,500 to produce. Not a lot of profit margin on that. But, you know, turn that around in a month. That's not bad. Make $1,000 a month. $1,000 net profit on that. Of course, with that $1,000, I need to also pay rent, you know, with all the other stuff that we have. That represents, that table right there represents roughly $1,000 worth of profit. So in order to break even on a month, if I was just selling that, I'd need to do that 4 times, roughly. But I've also got the bourbon I've got the bourbon, I've got the rye, I've got the special reserve. We're open in the distillery. I may like all 21 of these cases are not going to go to our distributor. Probably 10 of them are going to go to our distributor. And the others, I'm going to try to tell the distributor to take half of them off my hands, 11. Then the other 10 will stay here in the distillery so that I can sell them directly to people over the course of the next 2 months. Straight whiskey, special reserve, double oak rye, and Boomtown bourbon selling directly to individuals through the distillery makes it's a much better business model. But I can sell more through the distributor and more through our retail channels. The challenge is really just getting, because more people go through retail channels than will come through the distillery. The challenge is getting the people who come through the retail channels to actually buy my brand of poison versus all the other brands of poison that they're seeing in the stores. When you go to a grocery store and you see 5 different brands of milk, and you're selling milk, you want people to buy your milk. And most milks sell on price, but we don't sell on price. We sell on quality and flavor and actually having a better product. So there's the challenge. Therein lies the challenge, and being able to push this stuff out the door, then do tastings, and I can do tastings with 2 products at the same time. That doubles my sales. I've got 10 tastings scheduled this month. If I can get 2 of these boxes at every one of those tastings, then now my distributor has to buy 20 cases, and all of these go out the door. And then we can add product to that, and add product to that, and add product to that, and keep it going. But right now, I've got to go eat lunch because I am starving. God dang, the barbecue guy got me hungry. I need to go eat lunch. This is fucking terrible lighting. How about this? There, I can be Old Humble Bro, Whiskey Bro, yo, Whiskey Bro. All right, we're talking sports this weekend, yo. We're talking about what the hell is going on with the Detroit Lions. What the hell is going on with the Tennessee Titans when they play Pittsburgh on Thursday Night Football, and what the hell is going on with the Houston Texans as they prepare to recover from their loss to the winless Panthers. Bring your takes, don't suck, have energy, or I will hang up on you. First caller. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. What's the status of the World Series, by the way? Anybody know? I have not been paying any attention since the Astros got bounced. World Series. It is currently standing at, oh shit, Texas leads the series 3-1. Well, good for Texas. Good for them. Good for them. I just heard something settle over here over my shoulder. I don't know what it was, but I don't want to do anything about it. I do need to get I have a tarp that I need to return to Home Depot. So I've got some stuff I need to do. I got to put gas in my car for the trip to College Station. I need to pack my bag. I need to got stuff to do, Stuff to do. All right, guys. I have been the Old Humble Guy and thoroughly appreciative of everything that y'all have contributed, chat-wise and talk-wise and topic-wise. But I've got to get going. So cheers to y'all. Thanks for joining me. We will see you tonight. Tonight. We do power rankings of Halloween candy. Number 8 will shock you. Yeah, my own little clickbaity title there. I did it as a joke. It's a joke. I don't know what number 8 is. I haven't given any thought yet to power ranking. Shit, we may not even talk about that, to be quite honest. Because there's only like 2 candies that really matter. There's peanut butter cups and Mounds. Peanut butter cups are the absolute best. Mounds are the absolute worst. Twizzlers are pretty fucking garbage. I don't even think they count as candy. I don't think those are food. My hat like crooked. Is that really crooked? Yeah, it's like dropped on this side. I had a guy come into my fucking distillery. I had merch on the table. He came into my fucking distillery, picked up a hat, bent the lid, with the fucking the lip, bent it up and put it back down on the table. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Who the hell do you think you are? Molesting the merchandise like that. You don't get to do that with your pants on. Anyway, I don't have a shot glass on hand to take my final shot with. I don't even have any whiskey on hand to take my final shot with. So, do I have a shot glass somewhere around here? Got one over there. Hold on, let's do that. I gotta do this proper. I can't close out the show without a proper closing shot. I'm the whiskey man after all. We got Boomtown over here. Boomtown. Boomtown. Hello, Boomtown. Boomtown? That's rye. Shit, do I not have a bottle of open Boomtown? How do I not have an open bottle of Boomtown? Oh, there we go. That'll work. Open bottle of Boomtown. Give me a shot glass. I dropped the shot glass earlier. I dropped and broken 2 shot glasses now this week. That's bad. I shouldn't be doing that. That's generally bad. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, this is the closing shot of the Old Humble Distilling Company's, sure, drinking our blackout bourbon, Boomtown blackout bourbon. I should do a Love Ya Boomtown bottle, where we have the old colors, but not like call it that. I do a little variation on the theme, so that the NFL can suck my dick. Be awesome to each other. We will see you tonight. Drive safe on the roads and stuff, because I'm going to be out there. Life you save could be mine. Cheers. This has been an award-winning production. Thanks to our patrons and supporters, Mr. Jiggs and William Hall. You too can be a special supporter of the show with Superfan membership or higher. Until next time.